right, let's see if we are live on this cloudy, snowy, coldy Saturday morning. It's still lovely. It's still beautiful and lovely. I have this beautiful sweater to keep me cozy and warm because we will be talking about some of the stuff that we don't want to ever experience in our life, right? And we need to realize who we really are and what we are doing on this journey and why we came here, that we came here for these experiences and the things we fear. When we start really facing those things straight up, you know, all the fear disappears because we will start learning, we will be expanding. So it's another series on our learning journey here, path to expansion and growth. Remember, there is nothing to fear because we are unstoppable, unshakable, but first we need to remember that we are that. So I will be waiting a few moments here until people join in. If you are watching this on YouTube, make sure that you watch some of the previous videos. I've been taking you through my journey here and really untangling the whole system they've created for us to discover, to explore, to comprehend, to learn from, and to really, like, we need to really remember, you know, like, I would like to really start with reminding us that we are the brave souls that decided to come into this life experience. We truly did. And a lot of people actually argue with me and they say, no, Lenka, like, my life is just so miserable. I have disease and I have misfortune and I have this and I have that. And I always stop them. I'm like, stop saying it like this, because what you are doing is you are a victim. You are a victim to life. Where you don't realize is you are a creator of this life. So everything you have and everything you do not have is not because of some external circumstances, but it's because of you. It's because of you. And when we step out of that victimization state and accept responsibility for everything good and everything less good and everything in between and everything around, that's when you are stepping into that powerful position of a powerful creator of your reality and co-creator of this mankind reality. And that's a very powerful position to come from. When you are coming from that these people did this to me and those people did to me and my genes did this to me and I inherited this from my parents and this disease runs in our family and oh my gosh, and I can go on and on and on. How, you know, you become a puppet on a string. And someone higher is pulling those strings and literally manipulating you, okay, playing you, and you have no control. You have no control. You have to remember that the only world you can control is your inner world. And when we control our inner world and we remember who we are, why we are, what we came here for, everything changes, because then you realize that you are not here to control anything external. You are only here to learn who you are, why you are, and the powers that come from within you. And the reason I'm saying this is very critical with what we will be discussing in relation to mortgages, financing, foreclosures, and everything attached to it. See, a lot of people don't comprehend that we are three-dimensional beings. We are the body, the mind, and the spirit. And we need to be fully integrated fully integrated and truly have that self-mastery in order to step into this powerful creator and the one that is in charge into what is happening and what is not happening in our life. So fear is the most powerful, one of the most powerful ways how to control people. All right. And the slave masters, and I say it with the most loving, in the most loving way, is because we came here to this 3D reality to play this game. It's literally a game. And unless you know the rules of this game, you will have hard time. But when you learn how this game on this 3D plane is played, that everything exists in duality, and that we have that everything we are looking for, everything we are needing is within us, right? Is within us. Then we can go and we can move the mountains. So we have to remember that these clever slave masters, and I will call it that way, okay? Because we allowed it to happen to us. I was once, victim of life. I wasn't born being, self-aware. I had to go through my journey myself. But when I started to realize what's actually being done to the weaker-minded, you see, a lot of people go and they exercise in the gym, right? And they, oh, look at me, look at my muscles, and look how well I am built. But not too many people exercise this thing up here to achieve the self-mastery, because that's your most powerful muscle. Your mind and your spiritual connection to remembering who you are and why you came here is one of the most powerful muscles you can ever exercise, which this is why it's called the self-mastery. So the reason I'm saying this is because throughout this process, this financial enslavement that we found ourselves in is because lack of knowledge and because of fear, right? Most people are so afraid to take a step, even when they start learning that there is really no money, that we are, that the system basically allowed to itself to operate in a voluntary bankruptcy, and we are all volunteering into it, and we step into it because our lack of knowledge. Okay, so we have to accept this. We have to accept this. Once we start learning what they've done and how they are really fooling us, we then say, well, you know what? I don't want to be fooled. I know that when I went to purchase a property, I wanted to purchase, that was my intention, to purchase a land. I wanted the land and the house and everything. I don't want to purchase some legal description recognized under APN, which we know is the federal overlay they've created. And that's where the game is played, okay? And in my last video, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. The importance of bringing forth and perfecting the land patent that, our homes are sitting on. So now we can make the claim for the land. We are no longer operating in this real estate that is taxable realm. Okay, we are now operating in the private. We are the private people, one of the people that are living on the land. And here are the metes and bounds. This is my property, not some legal fictitious description, which is recognized under the APN. So now what we will be discussing today is the way what they do. Okay, so through the private administrative process, we are basically challenging to be proven that there was a loan, that we were loaned something of substance that we took full custody, control, and care of, for there to be a loan by definition, that you basically, that I was given some money that I took possession of, and now, we can call it a loan. But as we discovered in the last video, they are saying that I was loaned something, and for which now I'm paying with my promissory note, which we know also from the deed of trust that was the security instrument, okay? And with that was attached the legal description, which is the federal overlay above the land, okay, described through APN, through the assessor's map, not through the surveyor's map, because that's only how property can be described with the meets and bounds proper description that we were reading in the last video. So what do? So they basically ignore, right? They ignore our requests, our writs, our demands for discovery, that I want to discover your accounting, because everything is basically about bookkeeping and accounting. And they do have to comply, it's a federal law, with the GAAP, the Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. Okay, so it's very, very, very important. And the promissory note is the asset that is coming in, right? So what they do is they basically are sending letters back like, oh yeah, we don't know what you are talking about. And they keep resending stacks of paper of all the closing documents, the agreement, the deed of trust, which I have. I already have that. Don't be sending me something that I do not have. But they just keep going. They basically keep ignoring. Another thing what I like to say is very important, that all the letters they are responding to my communication is from customer care team or compliance department. Well, all these departments and teams are fictitious entities, right? Who is the woman and man who is actually sending this response? That's very important, because we need their legal full name with the first and last name, because now we can hold them liable, right? Like they have a full information on us. We need to have full information on them. Well, they never provided. Then, they will send letters like, yeah, we assigned D. Smith to handle your account, and you can contact D. Smith at this 1-800 number. Well, you call the 1-800 number. Well, D. Smith is nowhere to be found, ever. And you keep calling and you keep asking for D. Smith. I don't think that the D. Smith actually exists. Okay. And so then they send you another letter. Now we assigned another person to your case. Well, it's just to exhaust you, to just keep taking you through the process, keep frustrating you, exhausting you, making you upset for you to give up. But you do not give up, because you want to know that you are actually loaned something, which we know there is no money. So what actually happened? So they take you through the process, right? And they start saying, well, now you are in default because we haven't received your payments. While I was still making payments, but I explained to you guys that what they did, they claimed to be the governmental agent, the licensed governmental agent to collect property taxes. And they were taking the money, and instead of applying it to the money, they were taking the credits, and instead of applying it to the principal, they were paying the county the taxes that I do not owe. So after a while, right, now they basically created a situation, setting it up for foreclosure, setting it that, hey, this account is in default. And then what they do is they hire some law firm, okay, or they are on the staff, I do not know. Anyone who is working within this mortgage industry, please DM me and let me know how this process really goes, because I don't work within the industry. I just know it as on the customer side. So then they hire a law firm, right? And the law firm start bombarding you with certified mail, And then what they do is they do actually recording with the county, okay? Notice of default and election to sell under deed of trust, okay? And it's very interesting. Pursuant to Civil Code, Section 2923.3a, the summary of information referred to below is not attached to the recorded copy of this document, but only to the copies provided to the trustor. No, there is a summary of the information in this document attached. It's very interesting that they are referring to Code 2923. Oh, let me actually read you something more. Important notice. If your property is in foreclosure because you are behind in your payments, it may be sold without any court action. Really interesting. You know what's very interesting? That they are referring to Civil Code, California Civil Code 2923A, but they forgot to refer to California Civil Code 2924, okay? Because they're basically telling me that they can go and they can sell and basically steal the property without court action. So let's look up. I have my laptop here, okay? And so let's look up the California. Let's look it up. California Civil Code 2924. Okay. Okay. And here we have it. Okay. Here we have it. California Civil Code 2924. Every transfer of an interest in property other than in trust made only as security for the performance of another act is to be deemed a mortgage except when, in the case of personal property, it is accompanied by actual change of possession, in which case it is to be deemed a pledge. If by a mortgage created after July 27, 1917, of any estate in real property other than an estate at will or for years less than 2 or any transfer in the trust. Let me see where we go to that section. The power shall not be exercised except where the mortgage or transfer is made pursuant to an order, judgment, or decree of a court of record, or to secure payment of bonds or otherwise evidence of indebtedness. So there we have it, that we need to have the court action before they can actually go and sell the property. So now what they do, they start bombarding you with all these certified letters, okay? Same thing, and it's actually a template, okay, that someone else was receiving, exactly the same template. And they just keep bombarding you at every possible address, okay? Just keep sending it over and over. And what it does, also when they record it with the corporate county, it literally puts the whole world on a frenzy, okay, fishing frenzy, because now everyone is like, oh my gosh, this house is going into foreclosure. So we need to contact them and we need to offer them that we can help them. We can provide a financial assistance. Or all these realtors, they want to sell the property before it's foreclosed on. And this is how they operate, okay? Because what it does, it's when you go through that experience, it first is scary. It's extremely exhausting because you are getting all these calls from all these people. But when you start taking those calls and you start explaining to them, oh, really? You want to offer me a refinance? You have actually money? And they say, oh, yes, we have money and we can make you a loan. I'm like, really? Oh, my gosh. Let's talk, because, this last mortgage company that I have actually in default, and actually they defaulted on the private administrative process, and they are in foreclosure. It was proven that there is no money, that these are actually not banks that have money. All they are they are the basically a transfer agent of all these securities. They are security transfer agents to take it to the Feds and Treasury and deposit it on the asset side. So I would like to really know, or it can make you part of this case. Okay, we can make you part of this case. Oh, they run so fast. But what I'm trying to say is that this is design, and Brian is saying, yes, it is private administrative process, okay? Private administrative process where we question, show me the proof that loan was made. If you cannot, then we are defaulting them. Criminal complaint was filed, tort was done, 3 billing cycles to complete the CDOs, the accounts receivable. Lien was placed because they didn't pay. So what happens is that you start really untangling, okay, this wonderful web they've created, okay? Just the fact that this law firm, okay, just took this case and just slapped it for recording with the county. This is libel. This is libel. This is a trespass, okay? So I went after them. We have to go straight after them, after the principal. How come you are filing this when the mortgage company is actually in default because there was nothing loaned? Now you are becoming liable as well, and now you are becoming party to this claim of trespass. Okay, but they do this to really just the frenzy that it creates, the phone calls and the harassment and the intimidation and the coercion, it just doesn't stop. And then what it does to the families, and it's really designed to scare people off, But as we said, fear has only power over you when you are not facing it. When you are scared of something that you are afraid to face. When we face it and we start actually challenging all these companies, they are tied to this. And let's not forget that all their interest that is secured under this so-called mortgage is tied to the APN number. This is right here, APN number right here, okay? Well, go ahead and foreclose on the assessor's parcel number, which was sent back to the tax assessor. It's sitting in his drawer, and I have a letter that they received it, that he received it. So yeah, go ahead. You secured interest through your real estate and mortgage fraud in the parcel number, and now it's sitting in the assessor's office. So go ahead, go to foreclose on that. Go ahead, go to sell that. This is why it's so important that we are the actual owners of the land, which is only described in metes and bounds, in the physical boundaries. From which pipe to which pipe, how many degrees, and that's the land. That's the land I own. And, it's very interesting to really see how much confusion, and we have to remember that the dark forces can only function in the confusion, in the complications, in bamboozlement, in just kind of like always, oh, look at here, oh, the carrot is here, oh, look at there. And people just jump on it, they bite on it, right? It's because we really do not comprehend this whole process of what is real estate versus what is an actual land. And when we start untangling these ties and the connections, the property taxation, where it comes from and why it happens and the most important, the bait and switch at the very, very beginning of this whole process, where you were shown something which then was put something very different on a deed of trust or trust of deed, warranty deed or corporate deed or whatever deed you have. Start reading these documents. Start reading these documents, start comprehending them, and start challenging them, and stop being afraid, okay? I love all these people who go out there and say, Lenka, I'm a believer. Lenka, I am not, like I have faith. I'm like, really? Really? You have faith? You are a believer? And you comprehend the faith versus fear? Yeah, do you? Well, this is how it's shown. Not in your Sunday school, or not because you are reading some holy scriptures or holy book, or because you put your head in the water, or because you go to some gathering where you all worship something external, something outside of you, and sitting on your knees and praying for a better future. No, it's done through our actions, that we remember that the kingdom of God is within us, and that we can manifest it, because there is nothing to fear, because we know who we are, we know who they are, we know what has been done to us. Well, done to us. No, we are no victims, okay? There is no victimization here. What we are doing is we are waking up, and we are correcting the things. We are standing up for our God-given rights. We are addressing all those things that, we might have not been aware, or we did not do correctly, or, we didn't have the proper knowledge, because the sovereign, the one of the people, right? That's who we are, has a right to correct, to change. And we have to remember that all the power is in we the people. So we are at the top of the food chain. We the people hold all the powers, and we hold all the legislative powers, and we hold it on the individual basis. And the man created the Constitution that was not created for us, but it was created for them. Which also, the governments created the corporations that created the U.S. citizen, which basically, if we start looking at it from the proper perspective, and when I say proper, I mean from the non-combative perspective, but saying, okay, it was done this way. And I can address it that way. And, there was this bait and switch, right? And now I'm correcting it. I don't want to be some fictional, tenant on some fictional legal description on someone's, imaginary map. And that's what I'm referring when they created the tax assessors map. Okay. That's a fiction. That's fiction. It was created to support that real estate, chaos. So you can be taxed, because you can be taxed only on estate. So that's why it's real estate. But when we go back and we look at the surveyor's map, it's all done in metes and bounds. These are specific physical descriptions of the physical land. And so very, very important point in this whole thing, as we keep untangling, is that if they secure their interest in the legal description, in the APN number, well, that's all their interest is in. And not to mention, hey, there is no money. So all you were doing is this banking transaction on my account, on my behalf, okay? And now we need to address it. We need to address it, because I was sending some credits on something that did not exist, which was already paid from the very beginning. Well, now we need to reconcile this. We need to reconcile the books. We need to reconcile the bookkeeping, because, and this is where we are giving them basically the benefit of doubt of them working in good faith and clean hands until it's proven otherwise, which has been proven otherwise through the default and through the whole private administrative process of non-judicial foreclosure. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. This is exactly what they are using on us. This is what they are using to literally steal people's properties. And I want to mention something very, very just mind-blowing, okay? So if you really think about it, these mortgage companies, they do not loan you anything because there is no money, right? Then they secure their interest through the trust and everything that's evolved, that's surrounded around it, that's surrounding this whole process, right? So they secured, there was never loan. They secured their interest in the APN, in the legal description, the fictitious property, okay? So then when they are taking people through this foreclosure process and they are foreclosing, well, they are foreclosing also on this fictitious property that only exists on a paper. It's one-dimensional, okay? Our land is pretty three-dimensional, okay? And people allow actually to be removed from their land that they settled on when the mortgage company can only foreclose on the fictitious APN, the legal description property. Come on, people, wake up. Wake up. You need to comprehend. And this is the fundamental thing that we are getting to the bottom of it. There is two things. You have land and you have real estate. Okay? And we need to keep repeating this until we get this. Real estate is a fiction. Land is reality. That's a 3D reality. That's what we walk on. That's what we build on. That's what we eat from. You know, the land is what produces. That's on the private side. The real estate is on their public side, on the corporate side. So if they secure the interest only in the legal description, in the APN number, well, that's only what they can foreclose on, which is a small parcel. That number, my number, comes on a small parcel, okay? So that's all they can foreclose on. That's all they can foreclose on. So my first question was to the tax assessor, where is this APN number on my property? Where is it located? Because I've been looking everywhere and I cannot find it. Just call them up and ask them, well, you know what? I'm looking for this APN number, which is associated on my bill, which is not a bill, it's a presentment. And I cannot find it anywhere on the property. So can you maybe send some of your experts to come to find it? Okay. Have them to come to your property. Have them to locate the APN number. And if they cannot locate it, I'm sure that you can locate it, okay? And if you can locate it and you can return it to them, well, now they are in possession of it. And should it make its way back to the property, well, now it's trespassing again. So now another question rises, how did it get to the property again? How did it get to the property again? Did the number grow like little legs and walk back on the property? Or did someone bring it back and put it on the property? People, all we are doing here is we are piercing through that fictional world of corporations, of customer teams and compliance department writing to you. And the office of the general counsel and, all these creations of the mind, okay? We are living men and women, we are physical, and our land is physical too. And so we are really, if you look at it from that higher perspective, the trust law, we are the angels that descended to this reality to take care of the land and all its beings. So we are the guardians of the land, because remember, we take nothing with us. We came here with nothing. We take nothing with us when we leave. And so we are the angels. We are the angels of the land, and we need to improve the land. We need to love the land, and we need to break free. We need to break free from all these illusions and fear created, situations that do not exist. And I hope that I'm helping you to break and pierce through this corporate veil that has been pulled over our eyes, so we can start functioning as the people, as the living men and women, the living souls. So, my beautiful souls, remember what they are foreclosing on. They are foreclosing only on that fiction. And if they are foreclosing on the fiction, you better make sure that you have a good roots in your property and in your land. Sending much love, and I'm going to see you on the next video.